Okay, good morning, Chavra. The Gemara starts off a hash 4 lines down from the wide lines. Gimel Amud Aleph. The Gemara's referencing back to what we had on our Beis and Beis that we learned Medina ear for different drushes. So we're going to say hash Medina ear that there's different types of cities that lay in. Sai Tezvav, you're down Tezvav, and Sai the cities that were ruled from Mesher Yeshua, Mesach Hashesh. The hash, the Medina Josh, Mishpacha, the Mayasa. The next words in the pasuk is Mishpacha. So what are you going to do with that? If you're saying everything that's double is a lima, so what are we going to do with Mishpacha? I'm going to be Yosef Bechanina, the Avi Mishpacha is Kahuna Ulavia, Shemevatlan Abedasan Uban Lishmaya Mikra Megillah. He basically says to teach us that the Mishpachas of Kahuna and Levia, they had shifts, a bunch of different families. Kahanim and Leviim, that they took shifts around the year to do the Avodah, to sing Shira in the Beis Hamikdash, and that they would stop this Avodah to lay in the Megillah. Amar Yehuda Amar Rav, Kahanim b'Avodasan, Kahanim in the middle of the Avodah, Leviim b'Duchanim, and the Leviim they would sing from the Duchan, from the like they had a platform over there. But Yisrael b'Madam, and Yisrael they also had shifts because the Karban Talmud was on behalf of the whole Klal Yisrael. So they need like a representative from Klal Yisrael to be there. So they also separated. They also had shifts, and they had the Yisrael and they also stand there. Everybody would stop. The whole production would stop. They would go listen to Gris Megillah. Tana Mihach, we went to Nacha Braisa like this also, because we just quoted an Amira. So now we're going to say even a Tana says this. The Kahanim in the Avodah and Levim and during Shira, and you saw them in Ma'amada and Kulam Mevatlan Abedes and Ban Lishmaya Mikra Megillah. The Kahan Samchu Shabes Rebbe. This is so Rebbe made a Kavachayim from here. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi and his family would be Shemevatlan Talmud Torah Uban Lishmaya Mikra Megillah. They would stop learning Torah and would go listen to Kis Megillah. Kavachayim Avodah. They make a Kavachayim from Avodah. We just learned that Avodah is the mevatel avodah to the Megillah. So he said, of course, Torah. Uma avodah she chamura mevatlinan madach avodah that's so chamer is we're mevatel to go hear the Megillah. Talmud Torah lekoshikin. Talmud Torah, which is not so chamer. We're gonna discuss it in a minute. But the Kavachem is that Talmud Torah is not so chamer. And of course, you should move out to Torah to go in the Megillah. You tell me this only as Kavachayim works is if avoid is more chamer from Talmud Torah. We're going to say it not like that. Like Yeshua was waging war on Yerichai. But he saw a malach, or we didn't know yet, but there's a person. It was a person standing before him. And Yeshua bent down in front of him and greeted him. In fact, tomorrow, before we even get to the Kash, the Gemara is stopping already the story. How could he greet and bend down for a malach? You can't. I don't think it's going to get today, but you cannot give your friend shalom at night. Why? Maybe he's going to be a shindalit, and because they could take the tzura of a person. Now, I think the reason why only at night is either because they're more shchiach at night, or because they don't have a shadow. Shadim don't have shadows. So during the day, you'll see he doesn't have a shadow. So you'll be careful. But at night, there's no shadow, there's no light. They're not street lamps. Okay, right. I knew this. Okay, very good. There's something about that. Fine. But you could tell by the light. During the day, you can see that it's that's a shade because the shadow is different. But at night you can't see. So how did he answer? Shani Hasam the Amalek Hani Sar Hashem Shani Hani Sar Tzva Hashem. He said I'm a malach. Maybe he's lying to you. Shindals are not so erlich this chava. So maybe he's lying to you. We have Allah Sinai. When they say that Hashem's name, they're very makbid on that one. That's for sure they're not going to be over. So now continuing with the story, the Malach is telling him. So he wanted to hurt him. It says that the next part of the pasuk over there is that he took out a sword. And he was like he had a tie on him. Earlier today, B'Talton Talmud, you about the Karban Talmud, Shabin Abayim. B'Talton Talmud Torah. Now you're not learning. So he's giving him musa. He says you have a strictly had a kpada that you stopped the avodah earlier and because of the war, and now you're not learning. What prompted you to come? What was the trigger? What was the real issue? I'm like Atabasi. Something that sounds a lot of panic and he goes, Maisa, what's the time? What's your real problem over here?
What was the short verb?
Well, yeah, exactly. What made you right? Atibasi. He says, I'm coming because of now, which means Talmud Torah. So Miyad, the next pasuk is. So you see, right. So this is the kasha ends right over here. The Gemara is going to go back to for a second, but the kasha ends right here. You see that Talmud Torah was the one that really got the Malach upset, but and so it's more than a void. Miyad v'yalan Yeshua b'layla ahu b'seicha emek. So that the pasuk, the next few seconds later, that Yeshua went, he slept in the emek, and Amar Yechon Melamed. Milamed Shalon be'umka shalacha. He slept in the Eimek. It doesn't mean that just in the valley. It means umka shalacha. Amar Rav Shmuel bar Anya Gadol Talmud Torah Yosem me'akravis temin. Sometimes even more than akravis temidin. Shnama atabasi. So he learned. He fears there's a kasha because I'm coming atabasi. The Gemara like kasha. Again, right? What was the kasha? The kasha is Rebbe made a kavachaymer. Based Rebbe made a kavachaymer that Talmud Torah is more kal than avoid this, or it could be mevatel avoid that can be mevatel Talmud Torah.
And here you see,
Punk Faket. So he said like Kasha, right? He had time in Yeshua, but not that he didn't open the Gemara. The whole Machan didn't open the Gemara. They were at war, and the whole Tzava over there, all the Chayalim, they weren't learning. So that he had time. That was a bigger time than avoid. But over here, Shabbat's Rebbe is mevatel their personal learning. They didn't send anyone at yeshiva. That's just it's base Rebbe. Is dafka like they were sitting around, they were learning in the house. But more of the yachid cow, and even now the Gemara is asking, even in the yachid, we're going to see that it's more chomer. By Levaya, which is I'm on the way to Levaya, right? I'm going to go have a Levaya today. It's a little funny to be learning about like this. They would Rashi explains the difference between ma'anis and we're going to see makalalais. I'm going to Levaya today. It's just funny to read the Gemara like this today. They could do one type of catching by Levaya, which is everyone catches together, everyone wails together. But they used to beat their chests and they used to clap themselves as part of the Avelos. Rabbi Shmuel Aimer, that's a chalamayid. So you can't. You could be ma'anas. You can cry, but you can't be metapchas, which is like another level of.
Sadness.
Yeah. If you're next to the mita mamish, then metapchas, I guess that's covered a mace. You could show more avelis. And on Shchaydish and Chanukah and Purim, you could do both. No, the other way. But Manashach, Sai, Chalamai, and Sai, I have period in my Gemara, so it's a little easier. But so but Manashach he can't Sai Chalamai and Sai Shchaydish Chanukah and Purim. You can't be kindness, which is that one person says and the other person catches after them, which is like more. It's more size. It's more crying. There's no halacha of mayid of mayid. In other words, you're allowed to show abelas in mayid in front of a tamach chacham. In other words, if you're about to levaya of a tamach chacham, you're matche mayid the halacha mayid. Halacha chanukah purim. We know that we saw from the memo that mayid is more than chanukah purim. So over here, the kasha is not so obvious, but the Gemara is medayik that. If I could show Abelis on Chanukah for Talmud Chacham, then I could also skip Megillah for Talmud Chacham. That's the deal. It's not clear, but that's the deal. But the Gemara covered a Torah for Amos. No, it's the kasha that you're asking me from about Torah Diyachid, right? That's the kasha. Torah Diyachid is one Talmud Chacham died. I didn't say that a bunch of times. One Talmud Chacham died, and you're allowed to be about Megillah. But the Gemara covered Torah for Amos. You're asking covered Torah Diyachid Chomer. Talmud Torah Diyachid Kal. Torah. Covered a Torah, or even of one person, is his whole Torah that he learned his whole life. It's not just learning for an hour of Gemara. So to be not one person learning for an hour, okay, so go listen to Megillah. But to be machabed someone on his whole life's learning, that's a different story. Yeah. One more shtickle.
Okay. You said it's on Knecht?
No. I think that's. I remember it was Stefanski. He said on this Gemara, he said that Mina Cheshma, Yashul, how many hours of Torah he had? He's like working 18 hours a day for 40 years. He's like hundreds of thousands, like a Meshiga number. Like that's covered a Torah. That's okay. Look, if you Rav is mamish on this shikl, so it's one hamshach. Amar Rabba Pshitali, it's David Pashut me Avodah or Mikra Megillah Adav. If you have a choice, if you have Avodah or Mikra Megillah,
either or,
you have to do one of them. Megillah Aleph Midar Yisbachnin, like we had the drasha on Amid Aleph, right? But from the from mishpacha. Talmud Torah Mikra Megillah Adav with the Samchel Shabbos Rabbi. So if I have to learn Torah or go to the Megillah, we said from Kavachim from Beis Rabbi, then Mikra Megillah is Adav. Talmud Torah Meis Mitzvah. Now he's going into. We didn't do this yet. This is his own right. He's going to bring another raya. Talmud Torah Meis Mitzvah Adav. Meis Mitzvah is doicher. So you're on the way to yeshiva and you see someone quiet on the floor. Take it on the floor, then you have a mitzvah over there. But the tiny mevatim Talmud Torah lahitzi meis lachnas kala. You see from Beferishim Abraisa that you're mevatim Torah to go take care of a meis mitzvah. Avoida and also, but that's not a sugya. Avoida meis mitzvah. If to do avoida meis mitzvah adav. How do I know? It says in the pasuk Melachaysa. It says by a nazir, he's not allowed to be metame to anybody, and then it says av v'ima l'chaysa. So we learn out a different justice from each one that I mentioned. If it says they can't be metame to anybody, so why I don't need an extra justice from my father? The Tanya, so Malachaysa is this Joshua. The Tanya Malachaysa matam leimer harisha hayalach l'shchayis pesach v'lamelas benai. Someone who's going to do to shak the korban pesach and to be mal the son. The shamas shemeis lameis, and he found that someone's tamid by him in the shvacha. Yachli yitam. I would think that he should stop the korban pesach and go be matam, and then he's not going to have to do the korban pesach with tama, right? If someone's tamid, he can't do the korban pesach. So Amr loy yitam. You should say no. Amarta loy yitam. Do not be matam. So what happens if a guy on the way to the Beis Hamikdash he finds a Meis Mitzvah? He also shouldn't be Matama. Who the ain't a Matama? The alcohol for your sister shouldn't be Matama. A Matama the Meis Mitzvah. He shouldn't be Matama for a Meis Mitzvah. So that's a Joshua. At least not talking about a Nazir anymore. The pasuk is by Nazir, but the Joshua is for the Israel. It's for Stam, a civilian. Matama the Meis Mitzvah. You should be Matama for the Meis Mitzvah. Boy, Rav. So now Rav asks us. Notice he built this whole ladder, and now he wants to know what's at the top. Mikra Megillah Meis Mitzvah Hai Imnayu Adav. What do I have? He doesn't know what to do. Either Mikra Megillah Adav Mishum Persum Manisa. This Indian Persum Manisa of Sharach Vayda is a very chashuv thing. So maybe it's more important to do that. Idilma Meis Mitzvah Adav, or maybe Mishum Kavod Abrius. Maybe because Kavod Abrius, the person shouldn't sit on the side of the road to take care of a dead person. But so the boy had the pash after he asked Shaila, he had an answer. Meis Mitzvah Adav the Amamar. It's more important to take care of a Meis Mitzvah. Meis Mitzvah is Doicha Megillah. Why? God will cover a briya shedoicha es loises heshabatayra. Even for a loises say a loises say for cover a briya you allowed to do a loises say. There's a machlekes which loises they were talking about. Rashi said that what?
Kohen was not allowed to kind of sell for anyone.
Except for Meis Mitzvah. But right. So he's saying that here that cover a briya is more chashiv than Pesumanis because you allowed to be mevatel on a mitzvah loises say. So Rashi brings down the mitzvah of Shor Tzveda, but it's a little bit shver. I think the Mashal says that it's what? No, because Chaim is talking that. You have to yeah. But he says the mitzvah of burying a dead person on Yom Tov, 2nd days. You're being mavatal the Rabbanon, out the Rabbanon for Kavod Abrius, which is it's the right to be mavatal the Rabbanon because it's the Rabbanon.
It's a machlek.
No, to say I'm doing it the Rabbanon because I don't care because it's the Rabbanon is the right. Right. So he said that lab being not the Rabbanon. It's a portion, but it's not
exception in the Torah.
It's covered a Torah. It's not covered a bris. It's not Masha from the Masha is a
Thank you so much. His cheshiva says that
it's a Torah. It's not covered a bris. He brings that from Brush. It's very not started that that's what it is. That's why he has the issue over there with that.